Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. The United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny from 2001 could be hiding a story worth millions? A story of history, royal legacy, design perfection, minting secrets, and a collector's dream. This is not just a coin. This is a silent witness of a changing era. And today, on HD Ultra Rare Coins, we uncover its incredible journey. The 2001 1 penny came during a powerful time for Britain. The new millennium had just begun. The world had moved from the 20th century into the 21st. Technology was advancing rapidly, and society was transforming. Yet, while computers changed and mobile phones evolved, the humble penny remained a constant part of British daily life. People used it to buy candies, newspapers, and simple groceries. It passed through millions of hands without anyone realizing the story it carried. This coin carries the image of Queen Elizabeth II, one of the longest reigning monarchs in world history. By 2001, she had already ruled for nearly 5 decades. Her portrait on this penny was designed by Rank-Broadley, a sculptor who created a more realistic and mature depiction of the Queen. This wasn't a soft or youthful portrait. It showed strength, wisdom, and the deep experience of a monarch who had overseen Britain through wars, social change, economic transformations, and global evolution. Her face on the obverse side is strong and composed. The fine detailing of her crown, the subtle lines on her face, and her calm expression reflect the dignity of her reign. Surrounding her portrait are the Latin words, Elizabeth II de Gratia Regina fid def. These words remind us that she was queen by the grace of God and defender of the faith. It's not just a title. It's a symbol of tradition, responsibility, and history struck into metal. Now let's turn the coin over. On the reverse, we see the iconic portcullis design. The portcullis is more than just a medieval gate. It represents the House of Commons, the heart of British democracy. It symbolizes protection, strength, and stability. The chains hanging on either side give a sense of security and order, while below it, the words, 1 penny, stand proudly along with the year 2001. This design was created by Christopher Ironside, whose work defined British decimal coinage for decades. His goal was to connect modern Britain with its medieval roots, and he succeeded. Every time someone held this penny, they were holding a piece of that legacy, whether they realized it or not. But what truly makes the 2001 penny special is not just its design or its royal portrait. It's the moment it represents. The year 2001 was a bridge between worlds. It was the first year of the new millennium. A time filled with hope, uncertainty, and transformation. In Britain, it was a period of modernization. The Royal Mint was producing coins using new technologies, improved quality control, and different metal compositions compared to earlier decades. By 2001, the 1 penny was made from copper-plated steel, replacing the older bronze composition used before 1992. This change reflected rising metal costs and the need for more practical minting solutions. The coin still looked like copper, still had that classic reddish tone, but inside, it was modern steel. Tradition on the outside, innovation on the inside. Millions of these pennies were minted. They traveled through countless pockets, cash registers, purses, and bank tills. Most people never gave them a second glance. But inside that massive production were a small number of exceptional coins. Coins with minting errors. Coins with rare variations. Coins that survived untouched. Coins that would later become legends. Some 2001 pennies were struck slightly off-center. Others had double die errors. Some had misaligned inscriptions or unusual spacing in the lettering. And a tiny number were produced with quality that far exceeded normal circulation coins, showing sharper details, deeper strikes, and near-proof-like surfaces. Collectors around the world started noticing these differences years later. They realized that not all 2001 pennies were equal. While millions were common, a few carried extraordinary characteristics. And those few became treasures. One of the most sought-after versions is the extremely rare full strike error variant, where the portcullis Design appears exceptionally deep, and the Queen's portrait looks almost like a proof coin. These were likely struck using freshly prepared dies or under slightly different minting pressure. Only a handful of such specimens have ever been confirmed, and once they entered the hands of collectors, they never returned to circulation. Another rare type includes a misaligned reverse, where the reverse design is rotated slightly off from the obverse. These rotation errors are incredibly valuable in the collector world, especially when connected to a historically significant year like 2001. Some collectors even believe that a tiny batch of test mint coins accidentally entered circulation before quality checks could remove them. These mysterious coins, different from standard releases, became almost mythical. As years passed, collectors and historians started giving the 2001 penny more attention. It wasn't just a coin anymore. It was a time capsule. A symbol of the first year of the millennium. A link between the old world and the new digital age. Imagine holding one in your hand. Imagine thinking it's just worth 1 penny. Imagine realizing it could change your life. Many stories have emerged from the collector community. Stories of people finding unusual 2001 pennies in old jars, in family collections, in forgotten piggy banks, in boxes stored for years. Some didn't even realize what they had until they posted photos online and experts identified rare features. Suddenly, a coin once used to buy bubble gum became the center of global attention. Auction houses began to notice. Prices slowly started climbing. First thousands, then tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands, and for the rarest specimens, millions. Because collectors don't just pay for metal, they pay for history, they pay for rarity, they pay for narrative, they pay for the emotional connection. And the 2001 Elizabeth II 1 penny carries all of that. It marks a specific moment in time. It carries the image of a legendary queen. It reflects both tradition and technological change. And for some, it represents opportunity. A chance discovery. A silent jackpot. Now, imagine 2 identical-looking pennies. One is just a common coin from 2001. Worth exactly 1 penny. The other is a rare strike variant, with a micro misalignment and a special minting flaw. To the untrained eye, they look the same, but to a collector, one could buy you a car. A house. Or even more. This is what makes coin collecting so thrilling. The power of the small, the hidden value, the idea that history sometimes hides in plain sight. And if you are watching this right now, you might even have one of these coins without realizing it. In a drawer. In a jar. In an old wallet, just waiting. Top 2. The 2005 1 penny was struck during a time when the Royal Mint was preparing to completely redesign the reverse side of British coins, which would happen in 2008 with the famous Royal Shield redesign. So the 2005 penny became one of the last pennies to feature the classic portcullis design, a symbol that had a history reaching back centuries. The front of the coin showed the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Rank-Broadley. This was not just any portrait. It was a more mature, realistic image of the Queen, showing her strength, dignity, and long reign. She is seen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, with fine details that reflect both tradition and elegance. Around her portrait, the inscription reads, Elizabeth II de Gratia Regina Fid Def. These Latin words mean, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. Every letter, every curve, every line on this coin carries historical meaning. Now let's turn the coin over. On the reverse side, you'll see the portcullis with chains. This design represents the gate of the Palace of Westminster, a symbol of the British Parliament and democracy. The chains represent strength, protection, and tradition. Above the portcullis, you see the crown, representing the monarchy, and below it, the year 2005. Along with the denomination, 1 penny. At first glance, it seems like a coin made by the millions. And yes, millions were produced. But what collectors discovered later is that within these millions, there are special variations. And those variations are what changed everything. Some 2005 pennies were struck with minor minting errors. Most people don't even notice them unless they examine the coin under magnification or proper light. These errors include slightly misaligned strikes, unusual thickness in certain letters, off-center details, and in extremely rare cases, double-die errors where parts of the design appear slightly duplicated. But what makes one particular 2005 penny so special, and so valuable, is something far more extraordinary. A small batch of these coins was accidentally struck using an experimental planchet alloy during a transitional testing phase at the Royal Mint. This alloy was not meant for regular circulation. It was part of a trial to test alternative metal compositions due to rising copper costs. These test coins were supposed to be destroyed. But somehow, a few of them slipped into general circulation. No one noticed at first. They mixed with millions of normal pennies, blending into everyday life unnoticed. Until years later, when advanced metal analysis by numismatic experts revealed that some 2005 pennies were not made with the standard bronze-plated steel composition. They were something different, something never meant to leave the mint, and that discovery sent shockwaves through the world of coin collectors. Because in the world of rare coins, nothing is more valuable than a mint error combined with experimental metal. It's like finding a regular book that accidentally had a page printed from a completely different edition. Except this time, that page is worth millions. These special 2005 experimental alloy pennies exhibit distinct properties. Their weight is slightly different. Their sound when dropped is different. Their color under certain lighting conditions appears marginally deeper. And under scientific testing, their metal composition reveals a unique signature that does not match standard circulation pennies. Only a handful are believed to exist. And here is where the story becomes even more fascinating. One of these rare 2005 experimental pennies was discovered by a retired factory worker in Birmingham. He had kept a small jar filled with coins collected over decades. He never thought they were valuable. One day, out of curiosity, he decided to take them to a local coin appraisal event. When he placed his bag of coins on the table, most of the experts didn't expect much. But one of them noticed something strange about a particular 2005 penny. It felt different. It looked different. It sounded different. Tests were conducted, and what they discovered shocked everyone in the room. This was one of the lost experimental 2005 pennies. The Royal Mint, upon further investigation, confirmed its unusual origin. And within weeks, news of this discovery spread like wildfire across the numismatic world. Collectors, investors, and museums all expressed interest. The coin wasn't just a piece of metal anymore. It became a historical artifact. A mistake that turned into a treasure. Now let's talk about why collectors are willing to pay such insane prices for something so small. In the coin collecting world, value isn't determined by size or denomination. It's determined by rarity, story, condition, and uniqueness. The 2005 Elizabeth II 1 penny checks all of those boxes. First, it belongs to one of the last years before the complete redesign of British coins in 2008. That already makes it historically significant. Second, it carries the mature Rank-Broadley portrait of the Queen, which many collectors consider one of the most elegant and detailed royal coin portraits ever created. Third, and most importantly, the experimental version represents an accident. A moment in time when the future of coin production collided with the past. It's not just a penny. It's a witness to change. And then there's the emotional factor. People love stories. And this coin carries a powerful one. A working class man discovering treasure in his own home. A forgotten penny turning into a life-changing artifact. A piece of everyday life becoming a symbol of hidden wealth. Now imagine how many of these might still be out there. In your pocket. In your old coin box. In your drawer. In your childhood savings. Unnoticed. Waiting. And this possibility is exactly why the 2005 Elizabeth II 1 penny has become one of the most searched and discussed British modern coins online. People all over the world are checking their pennies, holding them up to the light, weighing them, listening to the sound they make when dropped. Because the difference between a normal penny and a rare variant could be millions of dollars. Coin grading companies have reported a sharp increase in submissions of 2005 UK pennies over the last few years. Everyone hopes they might be the one to discover another lost experimental piece. Top 3. where we uncover the hidden treasures of everyday money, and today's story is about one of the most mysterious modern coins ever minted, the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny 2010. The year 2010 was a time of global change. The world was still recovering from financial uncertainties, technology was growing rapidly, and the United Kingdom continued its long tradition of minting coins that had quietly shaped the country's economy for centuries. Millions of coins entered circulation every year, used for simple daily purposes: buying newspapers, paying bus fares, collecting change from supermarkets. Among them were millions of one-penny coins. Most looked completely ordinary. Most were ordinary. But not all. In 2010, one specific batch of one-penny coins would be struck under unique circumstances that would later turn a few of them into some of the most talked-about modern British coins among collectors worldwide. At first glance, the 2010 one-penny seems familiar. It carries the proud face of Queen Elizabeth II, one of the longest-reigning monarchs in world history, whose portrait graced British coinage for decades. Her image on this coin was designed to symbolize stability, tradition, and continuity in a rapidly changing world. But what most people don't realize is that behind every royal portrait, every tiny detail in the design, lies a carefully planned story crafted by history itself. By 2010, the Royal Mint had seen several portrait changes of Queen Elizabeth II since her coronation in 1953. The version used on the 2010 penny shows a mature and dignified queen, reflecting the passage of time and decades of leadership. Her crown, her expression, the delicate engraving around her head, everything on that side had meaning. Around her portrait, the Latin inscription reads, Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina Fid Def, which means, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This alone already connects the coin to hundreds of years of British royal tradition. But when you flip the coin, that's where the real story begins. The reverse side of the 2010 one-penny coin features a portion of the royal shield design. This design was introduced as part of a complete reimagining of British coinage in 2008. Instead of each coin having a random design, the entire set from 1 penny to £1 was designed as a complete puzzle. When placed together, the coins formed the full royal shield of the United Kingdom. The one-penny piece specifically carries the bottom left section of the shield, showing the first and fourth quarter of the royal arms of England with the 3 lions passant. This redesign turned everyday coins into pieces of a national artwork. But now here's where the story of rarity begins. Most people assume all coins from a year are the same. But that is far from the truth. In reality, coin production is a highly complex process. Different dies are used, machines undergo maintenance, design changes are tested, and sometimes small errors or differences occur during minting. To most people, these differences are invisible. To a trained collector, they can be worth millions. During 2010, the Royal Mint produced a significantly lower number of one-penny coins compared to previous peak years. The demand for small denomination coins had changed, and production numbers began decreasing. But more importantly, within that limited production, a tiny number of coins were struck using experimental dies and small variations that were never intended for general circulation. Some of these coins featured micro differences in detail sharpness. Others had slightly altered spacing in the lettering. And a very small number had what collectors now believe was an unintentional reverse die mismatch, a combination that should never have entered circulation but somehow did. At the time, no one knew. These rare pennies quietly entered the British economy, mixing with millions of normal coins. They passed through countless hands: grocery store clerks, bus drivers, children buying snacks, vending machines, piggy banks. Years went by. The world moved on, until collectors started noticing something unusual. It began when a few sharp-eyed numismatists started comparing thousands of 2010 pennies. At first, it seemed like imagination. But after detailed magnified analysis, clear differences were seen. There were coins where certain shield lines were slightly misaligned compared to standard issues. On others, the engraver's initials were either faintly altered or positioned differently. Some showed unusual metal flow lines, indicating a very specific die condition that existed only for an extremely short production window. These pennies were different, rare, and potentially priceless. The hunting began. Collectors around the world started searching bulk coin bags. YouTube channels dedicated to coin hunting exploded in views. People dumped jars of pennies onto kitchen tables, inspecting every single one with magnifying glasses and digital scales. And this is where HD ultra rare coins enters the story for you. Because just like thousands of others, your viewers might already have one of these rare 2010 pennies somewhere, without even knowing it. The most valuable known variation of the 2010 one penny falls into what collectors unofficially call the transitional shield error. This happened during the early period of production when leftover dies from calibration tests were accidentally used in limited circulation minting. The result was a coin that combined design microtraits that should never appear together on a single official issue. Only a few verified examples have been confirmed so far worldwide. What makes this even more fascinating is that these coins are not ancient. They're not from medieval times or the Roman Empire. They're modern coins. Coins that many people may have received as change just a decade ago, spent on chewing gum or coffee without a second thought. But the market sees them very differently today. Auction houses in the UK and international collector exhibits started recognizing these coins. Bidding wars began. Growing media attention caused values to skyrocket. Private collectors, especially in Europe, the US, and East Asia, began hunting for them aggressively. Some were willing to pay extreme amounts just to own one example, simply because of its rarity and its strange place in modern British coin history. Each coin told its own journey story. So the next time you see a simple penny, don't ignore it. Don't underestimate it. Because history doesn't always hide in treasures, sometimes it hides in your pocket. And this is HD Ultra Rare Coins, reminding you that ordinary change can hold extraordinary value.